Hey, what's up, guys? Rip here. So it must be a day that ends in Y because we have another round of bad news for Ubisoft. So let's start off here with this report from Reuters that states Ubisoft reports 52% drop in quarter three net bookings in line with guidance. Now, given the entire fiscal year for Ubisoft, that's not too surprising with AAA flop after AAA flop. However, things are so bad right now, and Ubisoft is so desperate to hang on to its investors that for quarter four, they are not ensuring a profit anymore. They're just trying to ensure shareholders that they'll break even. That's how bad things are right now at Ubisoft. They can't even guarantee a profit. All they're trying to do is tread water. That is really bad. Now, we also know that there is a Hail Mary attempt to save this company because their value right now is about just over $1 billion. In fact, many people say the IPs they own are more valuable than the company itself. And one of those IPs is, of course, Assassin's Creed. Now, this is their home run. This is their Hail Mary pass right here. Assassin's Creed Shadows releases on March 20th, and they need this to not only succeed, but succeed very well. Like, we're talking somewhere around 10 million units sold is what some people are saying is a successful launch of this game and enough to basically keep the lights on over at Ubisoft. Now, predictably, I'm reporting today because there's even more controversy involving this game. Once again, more offensive things that are angering people over in Japan because it appears that the people who are responsible for this game are not taking their feelings into consideration and they're making some more offensive aspects of their game known to the public to the ire of Japanese gamers. Now, where do we begin? Well, we have to look at the desperate campaign by Assassin's Creed Shadows and Ubisoft over the past couple of weeks. Recently, as you can see from this IGN article, they said this: Assassin's Creed Shadows players who largely ignore one of the dual protagonists won't be missing out much. So that is a very desperate measure. This entire game was formulated around Yasuke. Of course, there are dual protagonists in this game with Naoe, but Yasuke was always the main focus until very recently. We even saw some examples of banners on their website completely removing Yasuke 100% and focusing solely on Naoe. So where is this coming from? Well, there was an interview with Screen Rant where one of their higher-ups over at Assassin's Creed Shadows essentially said you can play 80 or 90% of the game while playing just as one of these two protagonists. Again, a very desperate measure. They're trying to say, look, if you hate literally half of this game's foundation, that's okay because you can pretty much get through most of the gameplay while ignoring Yasuke. What a change up from, the legendary samurai that you have to love to, well, he's basically a background character and you can ignore him as much as you want for about 90% of the game. But of course, you have to play him at some level to complete this game. Now, there's even some more interesting news coming out regarding this game. So you can see from Insider Gaming here, exclusive, Ubisoft is confident on releasing Assassin's Creed Shadows on March 20th, 2025. That's a little alarming, right? It's like almost shows insecurity. Like, why are they coming out and saying, don't worry, we'll release it on time this go around? Like, yeah, you're supposed to be honoring your word here. But some people rumored at a possible additional delay. There's no proof of that yet. But this is a little bit of an odd statement coming out of Ubisoft. Now, one of the reasons they say they're so confident about this is because of the pre-order sales. So, at the time of writing, Shadows currently has around 300,000 pre-orders, said sources, and Odyssey's day one player numbers were between 400 to 450,000, a gap of around 100 to 150,000 that needs to be made up over the next 4 weeks. So there is a report out there that Shadows has about 300,000 pre-orders, which, again, you have to view this in the context of what this franchise is and how many units they're going to have to sell to turn a profit and to try to keep things going for Ubisoft. Like, make no mistake, if this game underperforms, Ubisoft is cooked. So 300,000 pre-orders is not exactly setting the world on fire, and the fact that there is a pretty big gap between that and Odyssey, which was a success, isn't the most faith-inducing set of facts here. But you can see right now, right? Looking at this data, if Shadows continues the same trajectory as Odyssey throughout launch, it's estimated the game could sell approximately 3.5 million units in its first month. Valhalla, which was the series' most successful Assassin's Creed game, had some 8 million players in its first month, with more than 65% being attributed to past generation consoles at the time. So Assassin's Creed Shadows is in a very tough spot right now with Ubisoft, where even 3.5 million units in the first month, it's not enough. They have to keep going. And oddly enough, that 3.5 million units in the first month was kind of close to what the predictions were for some other games in the field. But for Creed, they got to do a lot more than that. And there's some other news coming out that is quite concerning, to say the least. So, Assassin's Creed today, just hours before recording, we're showing this off on their Twitter account, and the timing of this couldn't be worse. So it's the environmental destruction preview here, right? They're showing off these destructible environments, including shrines in the game that are based on real-life Japanese shrines. And that is a very hot topic in Japan, not just now, but historically, when it comes to video games and these shrines being represented in them, and whether or not you can destroy or deface them in-game. We see this headline from Bounding into Comics. After learning that Assassin's Creed Shadows allows players to trash real-world Japanese Shinto shrine, current caretakers vow to take appropriate action against Ubisoft. So looking at the article here, we're talking about clips like this that went viral on YouTube and X as well, where players were showing that through Yasuke in particular, you could go to these Japanese shrines based on real-life counterparts and destroy them. And why is that such a big deal? Well, it's considered highly offensive. And the fact that there's certain things in this game that are not something you can destroy, but the shrines are, is rubbing a lot of Japanese gamers the wrong way. But as we can see here, notably, this instance of player freedom came as a particular shock to these shrines' aforementioned caretakers, who in response to being asked about the situation by Japanese news outlet Sankei Shimbun, declared, "We will take appropriate action." Further, when pressed as to whether or not they had been contacted by Ubisoft regarding the site's location in the game, they recalled, "No, if there had been, we would have refused." So obviously, if this is all true, this is a very bad look for Ubisoft, and people fall back on the player decision. Of course, you only destroy the shrine in-game if you want to, but still, a lot of Japanese gamers, based on their own sensibilities around the subject, they don't even want that to be an option. And with the way that Assassin's Creed Shadows has made mistake after mistake and made many insensitive things, people don't have as much tolerance, okay? If this was the only controversy facing Ubisoft with this game, I think it would blow over and be viewed very differently and viewed much more lightly by people. But nobody has sympathy for Ubisoft because they have constantly proven over and over again that they're insensitive towards the history and the Japanese culture they claim to respect so much. And this has gotten a lot of attention on Japanese social media. You can see this post right here with 11,000 likes, translated, of course, saying, "Regarding the shrine destruction issue in Assassin's Creed, it has been confirmed that not only the Shooting Shield Heishi Shrine, but also the Association of Shinto Shrines is involved in responding. Wow, this could seriously become an international issue." And we also have this person pointing out an example of something very similar happening to another game. So saying this, Association of Shinto Shrines was involved with a game being paused. Yashihiro ni Hoheto. It had personified shrine characters. However, complaints from the association led to its development being canceled. So we have an example of a game trying to personify these shrines getting canceled as a result of complaints from this Shinto Shrine Association. And that is something that Ubisoft is now dealing with. And the repercussions of that is not something that's going to really probably happen internationally, but something could happen in Japan. We'll have to wait and see if they go further with this, but apparently there is some action in motion from these related parties. Now, of course, there's more, right? So there's another tweet flying around on Japanese social media, again translated, saying, "Assassin's Creed Shadows is sure to infuriate the Royal Household Agency. Commercial use of the Emperor's Tomb a system that allows players to rob the Emperor's Tomb, commercial use of the chrysanthemum crest. I wonder if this will infuriate people other than the Imperial Household Agency. So what they're talking about here is some examples of a tomb from the Japanese imperial family that apparently you can loot armor sets from. And this is something that is considered quite offensive. In fact, there is some claims out there that this might actually violate some laws in Japan that not only covered the destruction of the real-life counterparts, but also this includes depictions of the imperial family in media. So technically, they might actually be breaking Japanese law as a result of this in-game mechanic. Again, whether the punishment is received or not, we don't know, but it's just another example of something that seems insensitive to Japanese culture that, again, they claim to respect so much over at Ubisoft. Now, while Assassin's Creed Shadows and Ubisoft is doing everything in their power to downplay Yasuke, to put him in the background and to make gamers feel like you don't have to go with this person that they were trying so hard to push for nearly a year now, there is a counterpart that is pushing Yasuke very hard. This is a game that has been recently put onto Steam called Yasuke Simulator, made by historically accurate developers. You can see in the background, this game is trying its best to follow in the footsteps, the brave footsteps of Ubisoft, and create a Yasuke who's historically accurate, who drives cars, shoots guns, runs over everyone. It is a very wild game being produced here, and a lot of people are rallying behind this. It's expected to release on March 20th of 2025, which is obviously the same day as Assassin's Creed Shadows, and that is very funny. So about this game, right, you play as Yasuke, embrace your unique heritage as you navigate feudal Japan in a fight for survival and dignity. Master epic samurai combat, wield your katana with style, precision, and flair, slashing through waves of adversaries. Unleash your inner warrior, tap into your ancestral power to perform devastating moves and awaken the latent strength that transcends time. Find secret gear across the map. The map's full of secret gear you can find and use against your enemies. Historically accurate. The Yasuke Simulator team has done its research and went above and beyond to provide a totally historically accurate depiction of feudal Japan with Yasuke, the samurai. And you know, they're doing a very good job. They're definitely following in the footsteps of Ubisoft here. Thomas Lockley would be very proud of this depiction. And as you can see, I mean, just look at this stuff. I just smell historical accuracy, and I really appreciate what they're doing here. But of course, this is just a giant meme meant to disrupt what's going on with Assassin's Creed Shadows. And again, none of this would happen if Assassin's Creed Shadows just did their job and weren't making so many mistakes. And people are making so many posts in the community hub here saying people's jobs are at stake at Ubisoft. I like steak too, buddy. Will this game support the LGBT? Just got a new LG 8K TV and want to play the game on it. Will the devs support my gaming choices? And there's a lot of other funny examples on here about not trying to miss proper pronouns and gender options here, and people want to be attack helicopters and be non-binary, B-U-Y, binary there, but yeah. So looking at the results here, right now, Yasuke Simulator is 1,300 overall in wishlist, and people are spamming this in their wishlist. Trying to boost this game is basically a giant meme, a giant middle finger to Ubisoft, and I think it's pretty funny. This has actually risen. It was like around 3,000 in terms of wishlist like 2 days ago, so it's jumped from that to 1,300. So hey, if you want to make something funny happen, go ahead and wishlist this game and help meme on Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed Shadows. But anyways, that's going to do it for this video and the latest update on Assassin's Creed Shadows and Ubisoft. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comments section down below. Hope you guys enjoy the video, and I'll see you next time.